Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to PA Street Scene. For those of you that are new here, my name is Derek. I want to welcome you to my channel. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you can keep up with my latest content. On today's video, we are going to discuss 7 reasons why I hate owning a modified R32. I've been doing a lot of car show based content this summer when I got a chance, but now that it's getting colder out and I've had a chance to kind of take a step back from car shows because that's kind of come to an end, I really want to start digging into videos about my R32 and plans we have for it and things like that. But I figured let's start off with 7 things I hate about my R32. So number 1 on my list of 7 things I hate about owning a modified R32, the fact that I bought it previously modified. For many people that are into cars, you know that that is typically not a good idea. And in this case, though, I didn't have much of a choice. The Mark IV Volkswagen Golf R32 was only brought to the United States for 1 year, only 5,000 units, and this particular car, because of it being the Black Magic Pearl, they only brought 700. So finding these cars unmolested and unmodified is almost impossible. So really what you're doing when you're trying to buy one is find one that's tastefully modified or well taken care of and doesn't, you know, have a ton of rust spots all over it. So yeah, just the problem with owning this car that I've really had is the fact that I didn't know what it should feel like stock. I've never dealt with that before, so driving it modified, it's hard for me to tell sometimes when I'm feeling symptoms of problems or if it's just things that are going on with the modifications. Item number 2 on my list of things that I hate about my modified R32 is the hood of the car. And when I say that, what I mean is the latching mechanism and the issues that I have currently with opening and closing the hood. For example, in order to open my hood, it's a little bit of a fiasco. Let me demonstrate. Step 1, of course, is unlatching it from the inside. And then, normally, when you would go to open it, you would pull up on the hood like that and a handle would pop out, but mine is broken currently and missing. And then, because my hood latch is not working and also that the handle's missing, I actually have to pop the entire grill assembly out, which is usually not too big of a deal. It's just held in with some clips, although it does occasionally pull apart like that. That's okay, I'll fix that here in a second. Then I need to reach my hand in here and manually open the mechanism with my hand, which involves pushing the lever down, pulling the hood up, and then pulling out on the lever that would typically be attached to the handle. And then the hood's open. Not the end of the world, not a big deal, because the grill easily pops back in place, and it took all of, maybe 30 seconds had I not been talking. But the real issue is when it comes to closing the hood. Because there's issues with the mechanism, it also doesn't want to close properly. So with a normal hood, you would just lower the hood down to here and then either drop it just slightly enough to hear the click and then you can push down on it to finish the job, or some people have to give it like a little bit of a drop to have it engage the hood mechanism. However, with mine, something's not working, something's not catching if I do it that way, so it tends to stay up like this. So in order for it to close properly, I actually have to slam it, which is not fun because I'm sure it's not good for the car. And it also draws a lot of unwanted attention, especially when I'm at events like meets and shows. But it goes a little something like this. If it works. This is my point exactly. So now I'm stuck opening the hood again, pulling the grill out a second time. And I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me. Push on the handle again, pull it out, open the hood, put the grill back in. And I know this is going to make a lot of you guys cringe because it makes me cringe every time I do it too. But now I'm going to bring it from about here and closed. Not cool. I'm gonna need to do something about it. I actually bought a new hood latch, but for some reason it didn't work either, so I'm wondering if maybe the hood is bent or something, but we're not seeing any contact points on it, so I'm really confused. I think probably the easiest solution for it is just gonna be to bypass a hood latch mechanism at all and use hood pins. But I have to find a set that I really like the look of, so I'm gonna have to do some research. Well, let's move on to item number 3. let me turn you around here. So the headliner on these cars, the R32 stock, is black. It does have a sunroof, and because of that, it's a very desired OEM plus item for people modifying Golfs and GTIs. However, for whatever reason, the previous owner actually decided to wrap the headliner of this car in like a blue suede material. And it's actually really pretty material, but the problem is he had never done it before, and suede is not very forgiving. So as you can see, because of the thickness of the material, it's not allowing the interior panels to line upright, so you're getting like these gaps, and you can see cut marks, especially over here, from where he was trying to navigate corners and things. And I mean, besides the edges and things like that, he actually did a pretty good job for having never done it before. It just probably wasn't the best fabric choice. And he even admitted that to me when he sold me the car. I'm going to take you around to the front where you can see on the A-pillar, it's really apparent even from the outside of the car. So we'll take you up here. So yeah, this is looking from the outside of the car. You can see the little head unit microphone in there. But from the outside, if the camera would focus, you can see that it's really, really kind of mangled. And unfortunately, the color of the suede has also faded on these A-pillars, making them look almost gray. So, that's definitely an issue for me. And of course, one that I'm going to soon resolve. Let's see if we can show you from the inside. See, there's a bunch of wrinkles and stuff up here. It's not really the end of the world, but I want the car to look as good as possible. So that's definitely an issue I'm going to be working out this winter, and luckily it's a project that I can do inside my house, so I don't have to worry about being out in the cold garage. Number 4 on my list was actually the subject of one of my very first videos on my YouTube channel, where I was doing some DIY projects. And for those of you that have seen that video, it was when I tried sewing the bolster on the side of the driver's seat back together. These cars are notorious for the bolsters on the sides coming apart, and for the most part, that was back in March. It's now November. It held up pretty well, especially here, but now the issue is not so much that the seam is popping, but it's actually that the leather is deteriorating enough that it's like crumbling apart. For now, I've just been kind of restitching it when I can, and using my favorite black Sharpie marker to color in spots just to kind of hide it. But obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that forever. And I have been getting some price quotes from around, but unfortunately, the price to recover one of these seats is pretty astronomical. At least, in my opinion, it is. I've never had anything reupholstered, and I think that they have to do some kind of special stitching on this, possibly for airbags or something. But the price that I'm getting from even the most reasonable shops is about $400 per seat, which, if it gets bad enough, I'm going to have to, but it's not something I'm looking forward to spending the money on, because obviously I could put it to better uses. Grudges with this car for me are very minimal, and I have to be super nitpicky to even make this list. So I guess my next item would actually be the head unit of this car. The previous owner installed this really nice Pioneer double-din unit with a touchscreen. I love this unit. It functions really well, but for whatever reason, I'm not sure if it was installed improperly, or if the unit's just too heavy for the mounting bracket that came with it, or if it wasn't the proper mounting bracket. I'm not sure, but something is wrong with this that I'm going to have to look at this winter. And now we're on to item number 6, which regrettably is actually my fault. If you remember, a couple months ago, I had the resonator cut out of this car's exhaust in order to try and achieve a louder, throatier growl with the exhaust that's on it. It actually has a 3-inch EIP competition exhaust, which I think is a discontinued system from a no longer existent company. For those of you that watched that video right after I had it done and saw the part where Reed and I took the car out on 581 out onto the highway and kind of opened it up, right before that kind of 2,500, 3,000 RPM range, there's a weird metallic raspiness to it. And it's not so bad when the car's warm. It kind of goes away as long as you don't get on it right from a launch. But when the car's cold and you're first driving it, it happens everywhere. And it's not super noticeable, but it does kind of have like a tinny kind of racer, and I hate to use that word, but like a tinny racer kind of sound. Like I said, it goes away when it's warm, but it's still really annoying, and it's my only regret with mods that I've done to this car since buying it. But I'm going to cut back to that clip so you guys can see what I'm talking about, and then we'll come back here and I'll give the car a quick rev so you can hear what it sounds like now. We are quickly losing daylight for this video, and there's actually, I guess, a Pee-wee football game or something getting underway behind me, so I'm going to wrap it up really quick with item number 7 on my list. And it's not even a specific gripe to my car, it's more of a general grievance, and that is the fact that I constantly find myself having to prove that it's a real R32. And I know people froth at the mouth over these cars, especially Volkswagen guys and Audi guys, because they are iconic, they're very limited, they hold their value like mad, they're easy to sell. I mean, it seems like every day somebody posts one and by the next day they're gone. People just love these cars. There's a cult following for them, and I totally get it. I love mine too. I feel like a rock star every time I drive it, but at the end of the day, it's just a glorified Golfer GTI. It has an all-wheel drive drivetrain, it has a 6-speed transmission, a 3.2-liter VR6 engine that makes that kind of famous Wookiee growl that everybody likes. But really, other than that, and, you know, a ton of R32 branding all over the car, especially in the interior, it's basically just a better Golf or GTI. And with that said, it's the exact same body. The only things visually on the exterior that really set it apart are the bumpers and the branding. The grill's the same, the shell's the same, you know, everything else is the same. So because these cars have such a large aftermarket support, it's really easy for people to make a Golf or a GTI look just like an R32. Bumpers, there's a couple different companies that make them. You can buy badges and branding anywhere that sells it. So it's really easy to make your GTI or your Golf look visually from the exterior like it's an R32. You can even buy the same wheels. I mean, I could literally, with the money, go out, buy a Golf today, and, you know, black or silver or blue or red, one of the 4 colors that the R32 came in, and by tomorrow I could have gone on Facebook Marketplace and completely pieced together an R32 look for the car, which is great because it's very iconic, it's clean, it's a great look. But I find myself very often having to prove to enthusiasts that it's actually an R32, which isn't a big deal, it's just kind of annoying because it happens so often. One of my earlier videos, I went to the Low Life Junk Style spring opener, and the car was still black then. Now with the graffiti, and even before with the Polaris yellow, having a crazy exterior color always garners attention for pretty much any car, so it was a little bit of an added benefit of getting people interested just based on that. But before, when it was just black, and even after I had the 1552 Turbo Max put on, they were just silver at the time. I took it to that show, and because it looked like almost every other Golf and GTI from the Mark IV generation, I should clear that up, it's a we're talking about Mark IVs, people would just walk right on by. And I'm not saying that I'm a big enough attention whore that I was like, stop and look at my car, but at the end of the day, it is a real, genuine Volkswagen R32, one of about 700. I know I said 700 earlier, but I think it's an approximate 700 that came in that color. And I just thought it would be a little bit more special than it really is. So I really didn't have a way of proving it to people other than popping the hood. And the only reason I keep the hood closed at shows typically is, you know, up until the other day when I did the gold heat wrap on the intake manifold, it just looks like a stock R32 engine bay, so I never thought it was special enough to justify popping the hood. Most of the mods done to the engine are all internal, so you can't really see them with the exception of the cool air intake. But yeah, so when you're in a lineup, especially when it's an all Volkswagen or a Volkswagen Audi show, you get placed next to 10 cars that look just like yours in varying different colors, and you have to do something a little bit extra to make yours stand out, which is one of the reasons I did the Polaris, and one of the reasons after that I let people do the Plasti Dip graffiti, because I want it to be interesting, and I don't like driving plain cars anyway. But I'm going to get off my soapbox because it's not really that big of a deal. Like I said, I had to be super nitpicky for this video just because I love this car so much. If you guys ever see me out at events, please come up to me and say hi. I love meeting people, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. I want to thank you guys so much for watching my videos and putting up with me as I try to figure this whole YouTube thing out. So, like I said, keep an eye out for my next videos. I think my very next video will be me actually doing a 180 and doing the 7 things that I love about this car, which I think is going to be a lot easier to do than the one today was. But with that said, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, the notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.